Hey guys, this is Courtney with GrayLaw TV, and today we're going to talk about all things COVID-19. I'm going to talk about everything from government assistance, F1s, employment-based visas. I'm going to talk about Social Security and the DMV and the Real ID, a little bit outside of immigration, but all things that you need to know. And I'm going to be reading because, again, this is all new information, so it's not stuff that I have all upstairs all the time, so forgive me for reading. In terms of renewing your work authorization, if you have a current work authorization and you want to file to renew it, continue to file to renew your work authorization, okay? Because they're not doing the fingerprint appointments that you need, but they will use an old fingerprint right now. They are issuing receipt notices, and a lot of those receipt notices, if you read them really carefully, they'll say this person is automatically extended for a period of time. So keep filing, okay? Everyone who has a visa that's expiring, they're expecting you to keep filing for your extensions, okay? Or keep filing for your change of status. I am going to talk about what happens when you lose your job, okay? I will get to that. Because a lot of people have, okay? And we're aware of that, and we're working with a lot of people there. If you have a request for evidence that is pending, okay, like it's outstanding and it's due soon, you get a 60-day extension only if that request was issued, look at the date at the top, if it was issued, dated March 1st through May 1st. If you got something on February 28th, they're still expecting you to file that response on time, okay? So don't think you have, oh, I have 60 days, or they're giving extensions. That's not for you. It's only for people in that short window, and I would still suggest that you file them on time if you can, but know that you have an additional window if you cannot. If you had a petition that was denied and you want to file an appeal, an I-290B, a motion to reopen, a motion to reconsider, or an appeal, they are giving extensions on those for that same period, okay? So it has to be received up to 60 calendar days of when it would normally need to be received, only if you receive that denial between March 1st and May 1st. Okay, so between March 1st and May 1st, you get a 60-day extension to file an I-290B, okay? But if you received something before March 1st, you should have already filed it by now, okay? So make sure that you're still filing those. Okay, and now we're going to get to the stuff that they don't tell you on the USCIS website. So let's say you have an F1, okay? And in order to keep your F1, you have to be enrolled in school. You have to be going to classes. A lot of you have switched to Zoom, right? And you're still taking your classes. Some people had interruptions. Some people have to take a break, right? So you get a 60-day grace period, okay? If you, for whatever reason, fall out of status with your F1 visa, you get a 60-day grace period in which you can apply for another visa or exit the United States, okay? So another thing that can happen, and this is very rare and it only applies really to the F1 visa, is your F1 student status can be reinstated, okay? And I'm sure that if you fall out because of COVID-19, your school will reinstate you. I would call my ISO, right? Or email and make sure that there's a reinstatement plan in place. Once you're reinstated, you're golden, okay? You don't have to worry about any time really that elapsed, and that maybe because of COVID-19 you weren't technically fully enrolled in school or what have you. So just as long as you're going to be reinstated, you're pretty good. Or if you file for a change of status to something else, and I will talk about what that can be, you're good as well, or if you exit the United States. Let's talk about your employment-based visa. So you're on an H, you're on a TN, you have an E, you have an O1, right? Your picture, the film that you were making is no longer going forward. Your business that you're working for in your H1B is temporarily closed. What do you do? What are your options? So Typically, at the end of your visa, you have 10 days with which to leave the United States. But if you lose your job for any reason, you have 60 days in which to file for a new visa or to exit the United States. Now, it's looking like this is all going to go longer than 60 days at this point, right? So what do you do? Especially if you can't exit. Well, if you're somebody who's continuing to be on payroll, you're working remotely, I would venture to guess that you're going to be fine. If you have an H1B and your job is located in Los Angeles and you're working from your apartment in Los Angeles during this period, technically with H1Bs you're supposed to let them know of any substantial changes. If your employer wants to write a letter saying, listen, for this time during COVID, we're allowing people to work remotely, just so that you've done something, documented something, rather than filing a whole brand new H1B petition, I would say that would probably cover you. Again, there's no guidance on that, so it's hard to say. I mean, if you really want to do something to make sure you are 100% safe, that, I would tell my clients, frankly, not to bother, is to file a material change, a new H1B petition stating that there's a material change in your place of employment, filing a new LCA, getting all that together and filing that for this period of time. If you are not working, that's tough, okay? You have to file a change of status. You have to exit within 60 days. They are not budging on that right now. As soon as they do, I hope they do. If you're listening, USCIS, please budge on that. I mean, do the kind, right thing. But if they don't, I would recommend that you exit, okay? If you cannot exit safely, then I would recommend that you change your status, because if you exit, right, and everything's lifted, and come right back in on your H1B, on your TN, it's still in place, right? If you stay here, you can file for a change of status to a B2. Okay, you file that with USCIS, you file it on the I-539 application with USCIS, a change of status from your TN, from your H1B to a B2, which puts you in visitor status, and they will issue that up to 6 months typically. While it's pending, you're okay, okay? You can remain here while it's pending. And it usually takes them 3 months to make a decision, right? Sometimes longer. So you would be safe for that amount of time, and then you would refile to regain your H1B status or your TN status. So it requires 2 separate filings of these petitions, but it might be worth it just to make sure that you're safe. I can't imagine down the line, USCIS, when you file your extension of your TN and you were out of work for you weren't working or on payroll for 3 months, or being paid your usual salary for 3 months or 4 months, hopefully that's it, because of this, that they're going to say, show me that COVID period, to make sure that you were in status the whole time. They might. Other administrations, I would say they definitely would not, but this administration, initially it seemed like they were going to do whatever they could to help immigrants in this time, and now it seems like they're backpedaling a little bit from that. I would think that this would be, that everything would be extended 60 days or 90 days, that everything would be forgiven 60 days or 90 days, but we're not hearing that yet. So I want to talk about government assistance. We just had this big public charge rule come out saying that, receiving government assistance could hurt your chances of later getting your green card or becoming a citizen, and now people are concerned because they've lost their jobs and they want to apply for unemployment insurance, or they want to apply unemployment benefits. They want to apply for in some instance welfare or other things to assist them to tide them over, to get them through this time. Unemployment benefits do not hurt you in terms of the public charge rule. This is something that you paid into when you were working, and you are entitled to get your money back, okay? So if you need to, do not hesitate for a second to apply for employment benefits. okay? In terms of welfare, that does qualify for public charge. What they are telling people, what USCIS is saying, is to document that you lost your job due to COVID-19. So if you can get a letter, if you can print out your company's website that it's shutting down, or whatever the case may be, that you work for this company, show your last pay stubs, and then show whatever documentation you got that you were being laid off, or that you were being furloughed, or that the company was closing. Keep that with you. And if you need to eat, you go ahead and eat, okay? You apply for whatever you need to do during this time. Do not worry. Do not starve yourself or your family because you're worried about your adjustment of status later or your naturalization later. The immigration stuff will come together, okay? Worry about what you have to do right now to help your family and to stay safe during this time, okay? That's your only concern right now. They're saying that they will be forgiving. Just document it. Document it, document it, document it. And then when this is all over, you'll be able to show that you have a fabulous job and make a ton of money, and that was just a blip, and you won't have to worry about it, okay? They're not going to not look at it, but they are going to be lenient about it. So do what you gotta do. Okay, Social Security Administration is closed. Okay, so you can't renew your Social Security cards even if your visa renewal comes through. You'll have to do that at a later date. You might be able to do it online. Check it out, but you certainly can't go into the office. The California DMV is closed. The DMV has instructed law enforcement agencies not to give a hard time to people whose registration tags or driver's licenses are expired, and that is starting, I have a date here, what did they say? Starting on March, I think it was 17th. They asked them for 60 days not to give folks a hard time because of that. Now, there's a way to, if your registration on your car is expiring, go to the DMV, pay the registration online, okay, and they'll send you your tags. If a smog check is required, they're letting you defer that for a while. You don't have to get your smog check for a while, but they won't send you your tags. So your tags are still going to look expired on your car. So when you pay your registration online, print that out, take a screenshot, have a photo on your phone or something, so that if you do get pulled over by a law enforcement officer for expired tags, you can say, look, I paid it online, I just can't do the smog check part, but, you know, they said that would be cool if I, like, you know, I talked, you know, I saw it on the news, because that's where I saw it on the news, that, like, if we were able to show you that we have paid our registration and done whatever we can in that regard, that, you know, that you guys were being lenient, okay? And the same is true for the extension of your driver's license. If you can't get it extended right now, they're supposed to be lenient on that. Just make sure you've done everything on your end, online, that you can, and document that, okay? Whatever happens during this time, document that. If you can't travel home because there's, you know, an order, document that. If you can't get a ticket, an airline ticket, or they're not allowing flights in, document everything, okay? Just print it out, stick it in the file. Document the CDC guidelines that say don't travel. Like, I was listening to federal guidelines that I shouldn't be traveling unless it's an emergency right now. And these are emergencies, and I don't have one of those. Because these things might not be available online down the road, so you're gonna just print it all out now, take a screenshot of it now, and save it in a COVID file, a COVID-19 pandemic file, just in case you need to show all of this later on, okay? If you're a senior citizen and your driver's license is expiring, or anything having to do with the DMV, they're giving you 120 days, okay? Not just the 60 days that they're recommending for everyone else. They're giving you a 120-day grace period, okay? Because they know that you're high risk. In terms of Real ID, that has been pushed back. You don't have to worry about that in terms of your travel or getting into government buildings or anything else. So Real ID has been pushed back for 1 year. So it's not required until October of 2021. Thank you for watching GrayLaw TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay safe, everybody.